Hello and welcome to Morten's Corner. In this video, we'll talk about a click-learn feature you probably didn't know existed called copy from published. And in the scope of today, we'll talk a bit about what is copy from published. Then we'll talk about when to use it. We'll talk about how to use it. Then we'll discuss a little bit about corporate versus a service provider scenario of using copy from published. And then we'll go through some best practice stuff along the way. All right. So coming into ClickLearn here, copy from published is a feature you can use when you want to lock down a specific publication version of a ClickLearn recording. So basically what you're doing is that you can see here that these recordings have a certain version number. So I could see, okay, well, this recording in version 1.18 and this one in 1.7, that's a pretty big editing difference. When I publish those are meant for a specific version of my ERP system, and I will then produce and publish that. And what I will then do is that I will make a copy of that published version and kind of lock down the state of the recordings in the version that they were published at that time, right? And then I'll put that into a new project starting from version 1.0. So basically I'm removing all history from the recordings. They cannot be restored back to other versions or anything like that. You would use that if you have, let's say you have a legacy system where you have, for example, an extension or a plugin or something that is some kind of customization on the system that you want to use, but in your other ERP system that you've upgraded to a later version, that is no longer compatible, for example, so you need it for legacy reasons. So in order to support and document it, you would kind of need to make like a quote unquote a time capsule of your instruction, right? So let's take an example here. In my example, I have finance and operations. I have a recording here. Let's go ahead and have a look at its current state. So this has been replayed on a very recent version of finance and operations that just came out not too long ago. I'll Control-Shift double click here just so you can see where to see the version number. You can see here that this is from AX, finance and operations. This is from year 25, and this 040 means that it's from day number 40 of year 2025. That's kind of how Microsoft does it. And then there's a build number here. So basically this means that this build is from February 2025, right? So that's rather new. What I can do is that I can create another project. So I know from the top of my head when the other version was from. So let's call the project that, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and make a new content project. Let's go ahead and select next. Finance operations. So I'll just call this FinOps, and I'll give it the build number. So that's 18238, something like that. All right. So what I can then do in this project is I'll click on the three dots. I'll select copy from published. And here, this is where the magic happens. So I choose the project I want. And you know how when you are in your publishing state, you can see all the different versions that were published. You can restore back and forth between them. What I'll do is that I'll just pick the first available one that was ever in this project. So let's see, that's gotta be like 37 or something like that. So Peter here, he's edited this project, published this project many times. I'm gonna take version 37. We have a history of 20 published versions to my memory.
That's right, Morten. ClickLearn stores the latest 20 versions of both the published content and the same when we talk about versions of each recording, should you ever need to restore to a previous one. Should you want to go forward again in case you regret your restore, then that is of course possible too, as each file save or publication increments the version number. Enjoy.
So now it's going to analyze it. And upon the analysis, we'll then see like how much it's going to import and if it finds any duplicates, stuff like that, right? So it claims there are some errors, and let's have a look at what they are. Okay, so someone has put a recording in the structure that was published at that time that has since been deleted. All right, so they will not be imported. That's fair. And then there is a duplicate recording called validate customer info. This doesn't really matter for the sake of our test. I'm just going to go ahead and click on next. It will then show me an overview of all the recordings. Yeah, and we'll click next. And then we have a little kind of overview, like when you do the import from Classic. If you've done that, then you'll kind of get this overview as well of what's being imported and analyzed. So that's kind of how it works. I'll click on merge. All right, merge is done, and it's going to reference the two same files that we had issues with before. Doesn't matter. Now I have all the recordings as version 1.0, right? So if I come in a retail here and open that same recording again in our example, you can also see now that the user interface is completely different, right? This is a very dated version of finance and operations. So let's go ahead and click on the same step. You can also see the menu here is different. That retail one was buried deep inside some sub-modules and stuff like that. So this all looks different. Let's go ahead and have a look here. You can now see that this is from version 18 and then 243, right? So day number 243 of year 2018. So that's pretty old, yeah? So that's around, I don't know, August or September or something like that in 2018. So that's pretty old. But let's say I am a service provider, yeah? And I have multiple versions of whatever module I'm selling to my customers. Some of the customers, they might not have upgraded yet. That might be on version 19, 20, 21, 22, 18, whatever. There are many reasons why they may have not upgraded. It's expensive, it's costly, it's time consuming, they might not have the resources to do it, whatever. Or their system might not be compatible with whatever Microsoft has changed, or whatever reason they're on an older version. I still need to be able to support these people, right? So what I could do is that I could make a project like this, supporting that specific version, having specific documentation, the same in all my projects. So my FinOps 18, 238, my FinOps 19, 20, whatever I have, has all the same structure, the same recording, the same standard processes, but I now support a wide range of systems that kind of time locked to these builds, right? Which is super awesome. That's kind of how I can do it. As a normal business, speaking of the corporate side of things, you could have it for the same reasons, but not because you have customers, but because you have something that's may not be forward compatible. So you kind of need like a dated lockdown for one reason or another, right? That's another way to use it. You can also use it in a training scenario. So let's say that you have a bunch of recordings that people have been trained on, and because they've been trained on them, you feel like they're ready for publication, right? So you will then kind of make a locked portal with set publications that you can then go out, right? Because let's say this process changed a little bit. It's validate customer info. You know how the modules were different and the navigation were different between the two versions. If I've been trained on navigating the way that we did in 2018, I shouldn't be looking at a 2025 guide, right? Because that would not be applicable to me. So I would have to use this version, for example. As soon as I've been trained on it, we could then publish that new version if that's the way you want to go. So you can also use it to kind of as an LMS project manager to kind of lock down and control it, yeah? Another way to do that would be to create, there are different ways to do it. You can use either project with references, where you kind of make like a lockdown project that only certain people have access to. You can learn more about that up here. It's called project management and cross-project assembly or something like that. And another way to do it is to use subfolders. That's a very common and very easy method. So basically what you would do is you create a folder called drafts, make another one called final, very simplified. Okay, so the ones that are done, let's say these ones are in drafts, right click, move, drafts, go. And then I could take the rest, which are these, and I can move them to, one moment, to final, right? Move, final, there we go. All right, this is another way of working, okay? So you can use the cross projects, you can use the copy from published, or you could use this method here. So whatever someone is working on, okay, I'm working on this, when I feel like it's done, I can drop it in final, or I can make another folder called awaiting approval, something like that, right? Then the project manager goes in here and he sees, or she sees, okay, there's a bunch of stuff here, and I'll check it out and then move it where it belongs, and then I will build my final structure and then publish it, right? That's also a way that people work. If they work in bigger teams, that's another way to do it.
You can also set folder permissions, both for groups and individual authors, for complete control over your project. Just be mindful of the administrative micromanagement and potential nightmare that comes with it, if you have a lot of authors and folders in your project.
You can of course also use the tasking system. I'll leave a link to a video about that here. It's unfortunately not used enough. It's a pretty cool feature we have, but yeah, that's another way you can do it. So circling back to copy from published, you don't have to make a backwards time capsule. I can also take this content and say, okay, I want to make a forwards time capsule. Let's just do that. So we'll say create new project, and we'll call this FinOps. So the 2025 version, we'll call this FinOps 25, and then we had 040, right? We'll make it green, make it blue, so make Peter happy. And we will do the copy from published. We'll do it from the same project as before, but this time I'll choose the most recent version, okay? If you are using an ERP system that has very, very frequent updates, yeah? Microsoft a lot of the system often updates. They have like waves, so they have a wave in spring and they have a wave in autumn, right? So there are 2 waves a year. There are other systems that may update every few months or whatever. You could, in theory, make a publication for each of the updates that are ever released. So you have a project that matches each patch level that you have on your system, right? That is totally a thing you could do. This would of course only be applicable if you have systems that have these levels, of course. Otherwise, it would just be waste of time and wasted space on our cloud server. There we go, stack complete. And to pop in here and have a look, we can now see that it's been reset to 1.0. You can see that back here. And if we look, Control Shift double click, we can now see that this is the version 25 that we imported, right? So now we've made a complete project that stored the state of the publication as it was when it is at version 1.57, which corresponds to 25.040 in terms of the patch level, right? So that's kind of what we've done here. There we go. And with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this Morten's Corner on the copy from published feature. I hope you find good use of it. And of course, if you have any questions, you're welcome to leave them on the community. And as always, I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you.